that in the vegan and international foundation in Alolia, you say, and tel, tel media, yeah, Shabashing. Since I did the Winjia, Tana Shingi, Matsugi, Takashre, respected Kashweza. Da Trobum was there, Jia Chungte, Gaustachus, Jaza, Tomatilia, and Trinidad on the Shakachus and Shiny. No. I think
First of all,
come here.
first of all,
Yeah. Sorry.
first of all, for the third time, I want to thank the Vivekanand International Foundation for inviting me to come here. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to participate in this launch of this very significant book, Tibet, Perspectives and Prospects. Do I have to start from the beginning? No. Okay. Okay. And I want to thank all of you, especially Mr. Ajit Doval, Ambassador Shukla, and all of you for making this possible.
As an ambassador, Dana Singh, Mr. Ajit Konanzu, that's Sungsar, that's right. Konanzu, and the Hansen Johnson, the Kashre, Ajin Tansen and John, Keshi Junkati, Dana Singh, Jagar, Guaraki. Very deep connection somewhere. But they could do, but Dana Singi and the Tibetan issue, the Jagarki, that they do Jagarton sharing me that they do cases, but it is Kashuma, Modern Drink to Sunny, take it up Marang. Kashmir, Pabasi, Bina, Dilla Babas, came to say, Shia Meva Sochi, the Redo Train to Stane, Tomatelia, Conansu, Energy, Purgi, Nedurge, Energy, Purgi, Kashmir, Tibetan people, Anashingi, Purgi, Kuru, and Purgi, Chedrishon, Samaria, Tukur, some of that, Jasham Tidantelia, Simbuja Shachon, Jeza, Masuriani, Toma Tushisha.
In their remarks, both Ambassador Shukla and Mr. Doval spoke eloquently and very clearly about the Tibetan issue, including their great concern for the land of Tibet, as well as its great environmental significance with regard to water and so forth. They also spoke very touchingly about the profound and extremely long-standing connection between the land, people, and culture of India and the land, people, and culture of Tibet. They touched upon the fact that what happens in Tibet has great implications for the world in general, but especially for this land of India. As a Tibetan, I don't feel that I could have put any of these things that they said any better than they did. And so I think, first of all, I want to thank them for their demonstration of their tremendous concern for the Tibetan people Tibetan environment and the cause of Tibet.
Nge namjune senda chik keshmo yu thon di yare te karesana he miji ki longo tongcha ma birini ya da gunzi chebe chue de rishun da chue ne da and rishun de ningbo principle in da 되게 돼 작업하면 왜 좋지 제가 아주 농도랑 비즈니아 디 균신체 양내 제야데 다들 주주리 미냥 아주 미마고지기 에 강에 컨디션이냐 되게 치면양바 못튀니 다 동네 체네 아주 다 가르지 배즈家庭啊，那缺的是什么的？做缺的是什么？你说，第一次是越明白的。这第三呢，俺说天这边的缺的是什么的？讲完了嘛，有的缺的是什么？这几平时两边是有的。开始不是干啥的都上俺说讲完的，俺说你妈说当，当然是讲完的，俺说的。제에 내여기다 내가 예비 미나스기 recognition required 계속 스타트하는 거지 배사사입니다 안에 다 배바디 직전에 야기 주저지 그래 children 저 사례가 이 children 디 파메기 children 디 가서 recognize 마제비나 아니 탑교를 지당 아니 가셔야지 내가 쉬는데 간다 최대 지금 통하는 제일이다 아니 야하데 아마도 지당 그거지 줄줄도 차대가래 제가 드리지 통하네 수수익이 차에 줄줄디 바 recognition squad 쉽지 계속 차대기지 마한테 통하는
There is one implication of the profound and long-standing connection between India and Tibet that I think it is important to mention. And that is that both the Dharma of Tibet and even the culture of Tibet, thousands of years old as they are, originally came from India. They came from this holy land, and it is with an understanding that it is this Dharma and culture that we have inherited from India that we seek to preserve, seek to practice, and seek to implement. It is with that understanding that Tibetans continue, in spite of the obvious difficulties involved in doing so, to seek to preserve these. Because Tibetan Dharma and Tibetan culture both come from India, it is important for us to, as Tibetans, to appreciate what we have received from India, our tremendous and long-standing debt, both spiritual and cultural, to this country. It is important for us to recognize that as Tibetans, partaking of Tibetan Dharma and culture, we are in a sense the children of India. That India is the mother of Tibetan culture and Dharma, and therefore that all Tibetans are in a sense the children of India. Should we fail to recognize this, it would be tragic, like a child failing to recognize and appreciate their own mother. I think therefore that this appreciation of India, this recognition of our debt to India, is of the utmost importance.
아주 배배 외에 파 understanding 사디 계속 그래라. 아니 아직 장 외에 여덟 사디 수 다 가서 recognition 좋아하지 다 계속 시작해 something 다 강다야 가수에 배다 자네들이 가수지 델람디 temporary 가수에 내가기 개변점이마 내가보다 별지 political 안다나 신기 가수에지 벤조 개변점이마 내가 슈가의 가르스나 나줄이야 deep relationship spiritual turning bendrado 다나 신 culture turning bendrado 다나 deep relationship이야디 내가기 나주지 첩시 개변나 다나 신기 벤조기 개변에 파버지들은 다 쳐주야 되지 그래서 샤차디요래 드링주산 디 균센때네 아니 가수래 예바도 다시 벽이 내던디 남주님이 가시시에 벽이 내던디 그지다 야르게 내던 개침시 차되게 지랑 다 돌아 자기 쉬는 시에 벽이 내던 나 차시에 조금 가차되게 그래서는 최대 지중들이 되는 자안의 충분히 인상 디규전데네 벽이 내던 데다 자기 내려서는 장도 아니 가수에지 되네 개신지 이바레스라나 누구도 시키는 차되게 그래서
I think it is very important for Tibetans to understand this, and I think it is also important for Indians to understand the contribution that their civilization, their country, their people have made to Tibet and the world. The relationship between India and Tibet is not recent, and it is not temporary. It is a very profound and more than thousands of years old relationship. It is not merely political, it is not expedient, it is not merely economic. It is the deepest possible relationship. It is the spiritual and cultural relationship that really reached to the very depths of what it means to be Tibetan. This relationship is so important because it goes to the very essence of the identity of the Tibetan people, their Dharma and their culture. So therefore, the issue of Tibet is very much an issue that is especially relevant to India.
가수르다 롱업주 권리야다 별이야 나 루규도야 중용매매 다 분규 첨부 충분해 다 진짜지 분규 첨부지 연구야 다 요새 멈추다 아니 저지네 별 나로 내대 가수다 진정 다 가수다 나로 내대 망치단 잡여하래 다가는 신 엔다기 코나스 숨는 신 지체나 다 별이 치로 다 kinzig 기업서 neighbor country 다 디즈라이 지전 잡용 시브레 다 컨트롤되는 용이어래 제상 강다양 뭐 니주 누구되네 그 좋아 중사로 이비네야 다 니주 상고를 지금 가시고 그러잖아 아니 영화 탐지 기업이죠 영화래 앞에 아니 뱀이 주차 망고지 따야 내시 라량 아니지 영화밥에 가서 배바당 아니지 영화밥에 유리 딱 미마스 벤지 가서 정말 좀 좀지 아니 배나지 가서 내가 쉬는 신 다 파마도 죽은 좀 받다 보세요. 저기 왔다 가다 좀지 아니 벤지 좀 어쩌지 정신 아주 받으면 잡아 가져야지. 엄마 가시 신기 길에 개바 가시 신기 길에 아니 안하지 가수에 미세 도나이에 데 가시 신기 길에 마다베 야체 마소 거네 하고 이기만 해. 딱 이 야가도 배웠죠. 딱 이분이야. 야와르시 야가페 엠피몽스데 진지 클릭클릭 아주 잡아디 음악에 저기 사무지에디 아니 뭐 trouble 초세 클릭클릭 다다데 주술이비나 엔 펜주니가로 가쇼에 펜주직 뭐로 셰세 펜주 계신이 버직지 펜주 계신이 버디 가쇼에 초나디 슈체션 로기에 주지 아 도스톤디도 네두산에 대비나 아주 가쇼에 good news 세나장도 야면에 starts point somewhere education으로 차디가래 네두산에 벤트링 텔지지 우지 시합대 비냐 덴덴 가쇼에 따지기 가쇼에 제가 상부지 고수대 다를 지당 야나 고체를 비자 드리스 전투 위기에 상적이 네두산 대만 가시다 중송스
A terrible change occurred for the land and people of Tibet more than 50 years ago now. And I suppose if we look to the reasons for this, we would have to say there are many, some of them internal to situations within Tibet, and some of what happened then, and has happened since, no doubt, is also connected with Tibet's neighbors. In any case, it happened, but since then, some good things have happened. First of all, His Holiness the Dalai Lama was able to reach this land of India and was welcomed here with open arms. He has since been followed by tens of thousands of Tibetans who have come to make India their home. As a result of the unfortunate events in Tibet, these Tibetans who have come here have met with the people and the beautiful culture of this land. And it's very much like what I mentioned earlier, children coming to recognize their mother. Through so many Tibetans coming to India, a previously unrecognized mutual knowledge, mutual familiarity has emerged. Of course, there were always people in both countries who were well aware of the deep and profound spiritual and cultural relationship between them. But since His Holiness the Dalai Lama and many other Tibetans have come here, that previously existent profound connection has become widely recognized, much more than it was before. And this has led to a mutual understanding between the Indian and Tibetan peoples of their great importance to one another. An actual heartfelt feeling of the depth of their interdependence and relationship. And this is very good news, this emerging understanding. And I think that since this book, as the speakers mentioned, serves to point this out and clarify all of the ramifications of this mutual relationship between Tibet and India, I feel that the publishing of this book at this time is an extremely auspicious sign of a new age, a new turn in growing appreciation and growing understanding. And therefore, I'm personally delighted by this book's existence and its being published.
안에 당아 로주균 가서 주시 메거리아 안 소수 배유 배우는 카트에제 야가리아 용브레 나디 초진이 더 sad story of the 가서 이겨에 내를 정도로 줄이지 이내라 초진이 안다 진짜 의도동 처부지 제 뭐야 가서 다지 제제 난 가서 다지 타주 신부 시야디 조진에 아주지 야파베 유스비산에 에너지 조진 다 가서 장왕 로베 비치당 아다르지 야와탐지 캠바 제 다르신기 베르다 spiritual leader 자 치린치드 당직에 예수예바 다르신기 비밀 왕스 대여체 제장도나 디 야파베 연자 디 소수이다 소수 까마베 지인베기 가서에 롤 디 가서에 비좀 서울을 지어야지 야나 야간도야디 that the best options and 안다도 that 때마다 매버지 근데 주문지 체제 안자리가 용래 다른 안 잡은 이제 딱 비밀 망보 가서다 자리야 로다버시 장문용 맞대봐 아버지 자리야 어디가 제자 뒤 가르쳐 버려서나 초진에 애니 비밀세기 뉴윌리아 야가디 자심이 비지다 개침을 지금 비지다 다나시 비밀 조 강에 체배 예배 거리야 왼접도 분이에 지고디 야가심비 야가 인비 문진으로 축축시다 제대로 총거 아래 제자 뒤준전 때네 드린 대배배 가수로다 군주나무 소리에 조금나무 상으로 지 자파배 유 나로리아 딱한다 가수의 장성을 차례 계신 낭이 게 이미 비싸네 기랑 스토리야 대 샤로나스 베버스에기 기랑 소리야 자가르리아 컨디지기 로디 이제로 가서 주요디 또 샤로나 샤이 샤마당 아미스 샤스 게미도 안 담아들이야 아니 가수의 상로리아 도시나 샤이 나와 드린데가 쇼 송부대 에니아 미스 도시나 샤이
As is well known, when I was 14, I fled my homeland and came here to India. I suppose from one point of view that could be considered a sad tale, but from another point of view, it was a wonderful thing. The reason for my choosing to make that journey was that first of all, India is a free and democratic nation. Secondly, it had already become the home of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is the spiritual leader of all the Tibetan people. And therefore, it was obvious to me that my best, if not only option, needed to fulfill my responsibilities in my role as the Karmapa was to come to this land of India. All of the countless Tibetans who have come here because it is a free country. And we recognize, all of us, that India has been our sole resource during what we have gone through. All of us recognize how much we owe India, how much India has given us, how India has received us and nourished us. And we are all grateful beyond words. I don't have much more to say. I simply want to thank all of you, and especially those of you who invited me here this evening.
We are most grateful and beholden to His Holiness for his very inspiring words.